So in this video, we'll be discussing about what is SDLC, what is waterfall model and agile model. So before you start working on this project, because we are going to use agile methodology and Scrum framework. So before you work on this kind of projects, because in most of the real-time projects are also following agile methodology. So that is why we are also working on agile methodology for this project. So this will be easy for you once you join in any organization. Right, so but to start working on this agile methodology, you need to know some basics. So what is the SDLC, what are the different phases of SDLC, and what is the waterfall model, how agile is differ to waterfall model, like that. So this is an additional topic which we are providing to make you more understand. So please focus on this topic. Please focus on this video, make a notes, then it will be easy for you to follow the flow of next videos of agile methodology working. So let's get started.
What are the different phases will take place? Okay, so if you are already working IT professional, you might have already know all these SDLC and agile process and all. If you are a student, then you can just try to understand what are the different phases involved in a particular software development or a particular product development. Okay, let's say if we need to build a product, or else you need to build a software. Okay, you had a requirement from client from US, like they asked you to build a website. Website is nothing but a product for them, so they asked you to build a website for them in order to incorporate their e-commerce business. Okay, so our project or software product is nothing but website. So as a developers, we need to build that website from scratch. Okay, so what you have to do once any client asks you to build a website, what is the first step you are going to do? You can just you cannot directly build that website by using your assumptions and by using your own knowledge, like as per your interest or as per your understanding, right? No, the website is actually the requirement of the client. So client need to be provide you the information how the website should looks like to them, what they are actually expecting from that website from you. So that is nothing but requirements. So whenever you start any project or any product development or any development activity, you have to first gather the requirement. Like say in our example, your client asks you to build a website. So you need to ask like, what is the purpose of that website? Is it an educational website or an e-commerce website or a venture real estate related website, like that? So what is that requirements? So you need to gather all the major information to start building of that website, because the background images or the text which we are going to select should be matched to the actual goal of that website, right? If you are going to build the e-commerce website, nothing but Amazon and Flipkart, if you are placing any babies videos or flowers or some other non-related images in that website, that is not relevant to that, right? So you need to first capture the requirements of that client. So okay, we will take up this project, we will build a website for you. So first let me know what are your requirements. So how you are going to visit your website once we have delivered your project. So what are the different menus you want to do in your project? So what is the purpose of your website? And like that all the requirements you need to gather. That is the very first step in any software development like life cycle. SDLC is nothing but software development life cycle. So to build any project or product from scratch, the first step would be to gather the requirements. Then okay, once you got all the requirements, like what are the different menus they need, what are the different pages they have, or what are the different images they would like to include them. So okay, you are good at requirements. Your next step would be design. Nothing but you got all the requirements, so now you need to design your product. This is not the actual development, it is just a design phase, remember. Okay, it means like, okay, I got these 4 images and 4 menus. Okay, I will build this website like in this way. Like you and your architect or your architect from onshore or your manager, you set up a call or set up a meeting to finalize the design of your project. Then once you have done with the design, then your development team will start developing that actual code to build that website. right? So you designed a website like here home page should look like this, and contact page should look like this. Likewise, you will design the project first, then you need to do the actual development, actual code. You need to write it on development stage. Then once you are done with the development, you need to test that website, right? Before delivering that to client, you need to test end-to-end testing, like is this website is working fine or not, all the pages are visible or not, all the images are getting loaded, like end-to-end testing you need to do. Then if you are okay and testing in QA stage, then the deployment, that is nothing but you are delivering this product, this website to your client in their production missions. You are done with the deployment. Once you are done with the deployment, then client will actually use that website, and he actually check that everything in that website, and he will get to know everything is fine as per his requirements or not. Then the review will start. Then there the ends, the project will ends. Okay, so every project development will start with these six phases, are important phases of any of the product development phase, development perspective. Okay, so requirements, design, development, testing, deployment, and review. This is nothing but all the different phases. Okay, good. Now, earlier days is, or now also few projects are actually following this waterfall model. So how, okay, how to develop this waterfall model? You might have heard about waterfall model and agile model if you have already working on IT. So if you are new to IT environment, or if you are a student, just get basic understand of what is waterfall model. So in your waterfall model, what happened is like each and every phase will be depending on his their previous stage. Okay, let's go to our previous slide one. So once you need to gather the requirement, then only you can start the design. Once you are completing the design, then only you need to do the development. Once you are done with the development, then only they need to that is available for testing. Once the testing is done, then only it will be available for deployment. So likewise, these are the different phases, the same phases. Maybe names will change sometimes. So that's why I have captured here different names. Okay, so once planning is done, then analysis, then design, then implementation, then maintenance. So one by one, after one stage, we need to follow. That is nothing but waterfall model. What it means, like if the project deadline is for 1 year, first 2 months will be for planning, next 2 months will be for design, and next 3 months will be for implementation, and last 1 month or 2 months will be for maintenance. So what will happen if any issues happened in between, or any requirements is getting changed in between your developers, but if the requirements is different from that client task, what will happen? So all this 1 year time will gone without the actual requirements fulfillment, right? So once the project is going to production, then we need to actually, client will come and client will say like, no, I don't want this page in my website, I need to change this home page like in with another images, or else I need to update this contact page, something. So it means like one only you deliver your project to the client only once at the end of the complete phases. This is nothing but waterfall model. That too, after one phase, you need to start the next phase. You cannot start design first. You cannot start implementation first. So all the stages are dependent one by one. So, and nowadays also, this is nothing but a traditional model or waterfall model of software development life cycle. It is okay if we have only limited client or limited users, or it's a very small project. If it is a big project like a 2 years or 3 years project, this model will not fit into that requirement. Okay, so what are the drawbacks of this waterfall model? See, let's say, as we discussed, if this project duration is 1 year, only after that 1 year you are interacting with client, you will get the feedback from that client if he is satisfied with your product or not. If he is not satisfied with the product, then he will give some changes, and he will need some enhancements. Enhancements is nothing but you need to improve something, your web page. You need to improve with some additional features like that. So that will happen at the end of the project. So After entire product delivery after 1 year, then if any issues comes, they will take it as an, I mean, our development team will take it as an enhancement, then we need to modify that product. that will that will be actually a waste of time for both the developers as well as for clients, right? And one more drawback is like, let's say if this 1 year project, middle of the project, some team members are left from this organization to another organization, as usual we follow, right? So what happened if some more new requirement comes into picture at the end of the project, if the same developer who built that specific feature or development was not there at this time, the entire old team need to be give KT or knowledge transfer or provide the details to that new member. First, the new member need to understand the project, understand the code, then only he can able to work on that code, right? Again, this everything is waste of time, right? So to actually nowadays also few projects, as I said, like few projects are following this waterfall model, but to fulfill all these drawbacks, agile process come into picture, right? Agile process is nothing but in agile process also, like any product development, it has also all the SDLC life cycle phases, all the project development phases are there. But what is the difference between this waterfall model and this agile model is nothing but, in waterfall model the complete 1 year they will be delivered at only once, but in agile model the single product development or single project development will be actually divided into different iterations, loops or sprints, all are same. Okay, so let's say our project is 1 year project, we will divided that into 2 months, 3 months, 3 months, or 2 months, 2 months. Okay, let's say we have divided that into 3 months. So how many quarters will be there? So 4 quarters in 1 year. So first quarter they will treat as a one release. Second quarter they will means nothing but 3 months of duration. Second 3 months of duration they will treat that as a release. So what I mean to say, like for every 3 months they are actually releasing their product features to client. In that every release also, like for example, let's say one release is having 3 months. In that 3 months, every month or every 2 weeks they have treated it as a sprint. So usually in agile process, each and every sprint should have been a cycle of 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks they will release a new features or new enhancement of that project. So what happened? So let's say for this sprint one is having 3 weeks. So first week for development, second week for testing and everything. Third week they are actually releasing this project to client. They will give a demo to client. What happened? Only 2 weeks duration. Let's say they have built only home page in our website. So they will show that home page as a demo to client. If client need any enhancement or any feedback he will right away he will say that in the sprint demo. Then the users and the scrum master or the developers will make a note of those enhancements and changes. Okay, they will make it as a changes. So they will list out all the changes. They will apply those changes into the next sprint. That is the next 2 weeks of sprint. In that sprint 2 they will have new features as well. Along with that, the enhancement of old features is also they will work on this sprint, in this 2 weeks sprint. Again after this second sprint they will deliver a demo to client. So now in this case, client what will check? Client will actually check the feedback provided in that sprint one. So whether the home page is getting enhanced or not as per his new requirements. Okay, that is fine. So let's say in sprint 2 we are building contact us page in website. So contact page. So now we are delivering contact page to as a demo to, we will show in demo the contact page in for the client. So client will check all the details and client will understand the demo of the contact page. If he need any changes he will suggest as in sprint 1. Otherwise he will say okay, I'm good for this contact page. So he no need any changes. So we have built two different pages in two different sprints. then fine. Then in sprint 3 we will take another web page, we will build it and we will merge that code into our actual website. So at the end of these 3 sprints, what we have achieved, we have built home page of a website and a contact page, and one more web page we have built in our website. So each and every sprint, after every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks, we are actually interacting with the client, we are taking the suggestions or feedback from client, we are implementing that changes right away in our upcoming next sprint. Okay, so that is, what do you feel? Is this the waterfall is the feasible way, or agile is the feasible way to deliver a high quality product? Obviously agile, right? Because every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, we are actually interacting with client, we will get the actual feedback, and we will work on the enhancements, and also every 2 weeks we are delivering a high quality product. So at the end of our release, we will deliver a high quality product to the client, which will be fully satisfied by the client. What happened if any of the team member left the organization in between the project delivery? No issues, right? So because in this sprint we have two development team, in this sprint we have one more developer added, in this sprint maybe one developer left, another developer added, no problem, because all the features are different from one sprint to another sprint, only few are actually having the enhancements, so that is also no issues. Instead of providing the complete product or project demo to the new member, you can just explain the sprint details to him, so that he can pull it in, that a new developer will take charge from next sprint.
Yeah, as we discussed, in this project we will be working on sprints, like we will be working on agile methodology, so that we will have multiple sprints here. Okay, I'll show you. I have created a couple of user stories. Actually, in this agile methodology, every feature or the task which you are going to assign is treated as a user story. User story is the one you need to work on in each task. I'll show you these details. I have created a couple of user stories based on our requirement. Okay, we have to build these libraries to list all the libraries, and this feature to get the particular library information based on the library ID, and to create new books, and to get the book information based on the rating and library code, right? So to do all these things, I have created 4 user stories here. So in your real-time projects, how it looks like, see, you can because in your real-time project you are not going to create these user stories, these sprints and all. Okay, if you want to learn more about this, how to create these sprints and how to create these user stories, what is backlog and all, if you want to learn more about agile methodology and scrum framework, you can just let me know. I'll create another separate video for that, because that will take much time. At least 1 hour we need to take spend for that, we need to spend for to complete that complete process. Okay, so for now let's concentrate on how as a Mulesoft developer, how you can work on this agile methodology. That point we will discuss. So the creating user stories, creating sprints and all, we will discuss later in a separate video if anyone needed. Okay, right. So what will happen once you join into your any project, any organization? Once you join into any organization, one Mulesoft project is assigned to you, right? In that project, what you are going to do? So once you assign, what the team is expecting from you, what tasks you are going to perform, what API you are going to implement, or what kind of implementation you are going to do, like that. You don't know what to do and all, right? So in agile methodology, as we said, we will be working in this agile methodology in a multiple iterations or multiple sprints. Let's say, for example, I have created see couple of sprints. Usually a sprint will be around 2 weeks. So let's take this only. Most probably a sprint will be considering as 2 weeks. Some cases it will be 3 weeks, but let's stick to 2 weeks for now in our example. Okay, so I have created a couple of sprints here. So our sprint 1 will start on September 15th to September 29th. So these 2 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks here. Okay, from 15 to 29, 2 weeks. Yeah, sorry, 15 to 29, it's 2 weeks, right? So our sprint will start on 15th, end on 29th. So between these 2 weeks of time, what are the tasks you are going to do, which are nothing but user stories? So we have 4 user stories. These 4 user stories need to be completed within this time frame because this is the sprint 1. Likewise, I have created 3 sprints for release 1. We already discussed this just before few minutes back, right? So just for our understanding, I have created 3 sprints. At the end of each sprint also we need to provide minimum viable product. So I forgot to mention that point in that. So at the end of every release or at the end of every sprint, we are not going to deliver the entire product or entire project, but at least minimum viable product we need to deliver. MVP it is saying. So what is meant by minimum viable product? Minimum viable product means at least with that code it should do some functionality. See, if we design RAML, if we deliver the RAML maybe in this 1 week, by using this entire RAML along with these fragments and all, they will at least they can test it from Exchange. They can understand what is the API we are going to do, what is the request response and all, right? So this RAML should work independently. So they can just test it by using Exchange and they can do this. This is kind of minimum viable product. Then we will implement all the resources one by one. We will release all the resources code one by one in the every sprint as we planned. Okay. So for sprint 1, I have created 4 user stories. One is the REST one. I mean the REST API, the RAML which we have designed. I'll go through all these things. I'll explain. First, let's see. I have created 3 sprint now, 15 to 29, 1 sprint. Then next day itself, we should create another sprint. 29th next working day is 2nd. So from 2nd to 16 maybe. Yeah, 16 to 16, 2nd sprint. 13. Sorry, sprint 3. Next 16 after 16 it is October 17th, right? So from October 17th. So once the end of any sprint, the next day, next sprint will start. There will be no gap between these sprints. So 16th is the end of the sprint 2. Next day, 17th is the starting day of sprint 3. So likewise, Agile methodology or Scrum framework will work. It will divide all the release. See, in 1 month, we are going to work on, sorry, in 1.5 months or 2 months, we are going to work on 2 or 3 sprints because a sprint have 2 weeks. Likewise, I have created 3 sprints. So let's work on the sprint 1. In this sprint 1, we have a timeline like, for example, I have just captured September 15th to September 29th. So in these 2 weeks of time, what we are going to work, we need to work on these many user stories or these many features we need to build. Okay, so to do user stories, you need to go to these boards. Azure DevOps, I am using Azure DevOps to create these sprints and generate these boards and all. Few of the organizations using Azure DevOps or few are using Jira also. Few are using, I mean, it depends on your organization or it depends on your customer what they are going to use. As I am using coding repository Azure DevOps, I am using CI/CD also with Azure DevOps. So I am taking this Azure DevOps boards as example to work on this Agile methodology. Okay. Okay. So these are the couple of user stories which we are going to work on. Let's see. First, let's concentrate on this one. See, these are the states: new, in progress, resolved, and closed. Whenever the new user story is created, it will be under the new task, and it is unassigned. Okay. So let's open this once. So this is the title. What is the title? The user story title: Design the REST API for IBS Library Management SAPI. That is what we have done in our previous classes. So this already we have done, but just I have created this user story just now. That is why it is in new state. And what is the acceptance criteria? So to complete this user story, what would be the requirements you can capture here? Actually, these user stories, this acceptance criteria will be done by a business analyst or some other person. They can create that, I mean, product owner. You will get understand if you are familiar with Agile methodology. So product owner or business analyst, they will capture all these requirements and they will create these user stories. They will create the backlogs, catalog and all. They will create everything. The thing which we are going to do in our daily scrum call. Daily there will be a scrum call. 15 minutes status call is there. Stand-up call, status call, scrum call, all are same. So every day as a developer, we will be having a scrum call to to update the status, what work you are going to do, what task you are doing, like that. So once you assign to a project, what will happen, you need to see which sprint you are currently and how many user stories are there. So they have created 4 user stories, for example. Okay, so they will have the user story title and these acceptance criteria. Initially in the sprint planning, what we'll do, everyone will be there in the call, like a scrum master, all the development team, testing team, sometimes product owner, everyone will be there in the call to discuss about what is the efforts we are going to do. I mean, we are going to spend, or story points we are going to do for this task. Okay, let me put it in a way. So to complete this REST API design, only design, not the implementation, how many hours you want to take, or how many hours it will take. How many hours you want to take means you can say 1 month or 2 months, but actually considering the capacity, or considering how many developers are there in the team, like that, we need to give some estimation for each and every user story, first thing. So this will be happen in the sprint planning call. Okay, so we will take couple of user stories, we will go through it, like what are the other information you need. If you have all the information to start this work, see, to design the REST API for this SAPI, what are the details I need to have? I need to know the sample request and response, and I need to know what are the different endpoints I need to build. I need to know the requirements. So I have all the information by this stage. So I can say, like, we are good to start this user story. But to complete this user story, to fulfill all these acceptance criteria, all the requirements, how many hours it will take? That is called estimation. That you can give estimation based on multiple factors, like capacity, how many developers are there, who can work on which user story, and if you have any holidays in this sprint cycle, or any leaves you are planned leaves you are going to take, like that. Considering all these things, first thing, you need to first estimate how many hours it will take. But here there is no point like hours here. To estimate Agile user story, we have a terminology called story points. How many story points it will take? I have given 4. So what is story points? How you can convert story point into working hours? So this is just an example I am saying, but it may differ to organization or company to company, that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So in general, what will happen? In general, 1 story point means 8 working hours. But few organizations will take 1 story point means 4 working hours. Okay, let's say to complete that RAML, to complete that REST API design, let's say it will take, based on the number of resources you need to build, based on the number of fragments you need to build, based on the request response and all. Once you have all the information, maybe if, let's say for example, if we need to build 10 resources, 10 REST resources in that RAML, you can say approximately it will take 8 working hours per day, right? 36 hours maybe it will take, for example. So 36 hours means 8 working hours means 1 story point. So 36 by 8, 4, right? So 4 story points to be taken to complete this task, this user story. That is why I have mentioned story points as 4. So likewise, developers, testing team, scrum master, everyone will discuss in that sprint planning call. They will go through one by one all the user stories. They will see, is there any dependencies are there, or you need any more information to complete this assignment, do you have any dependencies, like that. We will discuss everything in that call. We will estimate the user stories first. That is the first step. Then let's observe this. See, let's suppose for example, we have all these 4 user stories. We have go through each and every user stories. We have done the estimation. Okay, then all the user stories are there in new state and it is unassigned. Okay, for example, you have 3 members in your team. Now this user story is assigned to you, For example, I have added just IIT online trainings for my another email ID here. But in your real-time project, you will have multiple developers. Let's say I'm Lakshmi, or myself is Lakshmi. So is there any other developers are there? Their names is also there. Their email ID is also getting added to this. They will assign this to someone. For example, this user story is assigned to IT online trainings for you. This is one username. For this person, this user story is assigned, but still it is in new state. It means that person is not started working on this particular user story. So once you are done with all the information, once you have all the information to start this user story, you need to move this user stories to in progress. In progress column means this user story is this developer is started working on this user story. Then you can further split this user story into multiple tasks. Okay. C means design REST API for library man. This is the single user story you have to work on. But inside that, what you need to do, you can split them into multiple tasks. This is not mandatory to split any user story into multiple tasks, but it is just a best practice. Okay. So to design this REST API, you need to have a fragments. First, you need to build the fragments and publish it into Exchange. Then you need to have a request response structure. Everything you need to have, right? You can capture everything. Maybe you can add any more tasks here related to this user story, and you can track hours here also. See how many hours original estimate. Maybe for these fragments, to create the fragments, maybe original estimation is 16 hours. I have worked on 6 hours till now for this user story. Still 10 hours are remaining, so I need to work still 10 more hours on this particular user story. Like that, you need to track every day. So in our day-to-day Agile framework or Scrum framework, which we are going to work in our real-time project, this is your day-to-day task as a Mulesoft developer. You need to first see what is user story you are working on. If it is in progress, you need to continue the development and all. But on daily basis, you need to track these hours. How many hours you have spent, or how many hours it is remaining. Still, how many hours it will take, something like that. So if you need any more information, you have a comments section also here. And this effort estimation and this acceptance criteria, all these things are common if you are using any tool. For example, in your office they are using a Jira tool. That the process is same, but creating the user stories and all, that will make difference. Okay, because that is different tool. So if you need any information, if you want to discuss something, you can mention that person name here. You can start the discussion. So everything will be tracking here. If you have any discussion or any dependence, any questions, you can discuss here in this discussion forum, and you can add any attachments, request response formats, like that. So all the required information will be tracking here in this particular user story. So your Scrum Master or anyone who can see this, and they can understand, okay, this task is currently it is in this stage, like that. So if we didn't track our development anywhere, no one will know what we are working on. Okay, so let's say, for example, now at this stage I have completed these fragments and I have completed this RAML design. I published it to Exchange, right? So I can move it to resolved. Resolved means I have done with the development, I have deployed it into dev something, and then testing team will test this deployment. But for this REST API, there is no need of a testing team, but the actual implementation, that is also we need to consider. Testing team will testing this, but to be frank, in Agile there is no separate development team, or there is no separate testing team sometimes. So it depends, as I said. So if some testing need to be done, see, once I move this user story from here, it is new. When this is in progress, it is active. When I have moved it to resolved state, it is resolved. And these columns also will change sometimes. Okay, we can customize these columns based on our project. And let's say the development is done, testing is also done, everything looks good. Then we can move this to closed in this particular sprint. So we have done with the end-to-end testing or end-to-end development for this particular user story. For this, this developer worked on this user story end-to-end. Likewise, let's see, if you are the another person who are working on this user story, you need to first see what is the user story and what we need to do as part of this user story. What is the story points, like this we will already discuss it, right? So you can just get it assigned to you. You can save and close. You can start working on by moving it to in progress. Once you are done with the development, you can move this to resolved. Then if it is everything is all testing, everything is done, and let's we got okay from UAT team or someone to get go ahead, then we can move this to closed. Likewise, in every sprint we have multiple user stories. We need to work on each and every user story to complete one feature. And as I said, if you need more information about this user stories, features and tasks and all, I can create a separate video related to sprints and all. Just let me know. I'll create a separate video by explaining everything, and that will be easy for you. But as of now, just remember, you will be having one tool. It might be Jira, or it might be Azure DevOps, or it might be anything. But you will be tracking your work somewhere. If you are following agile methodology, you should be working on different sprints. You should have multiple user stories to be assigned. You need to track these user stories every day by spending how many hours of work you are working on that particular task, like that. Just remember these points as of now. We will go in depth agile methodologies, Scrum framework. We will see in detail, but that is not at this point. You no need to work more on that part. Just remember, you need to track your work somewhere and update your work on daily basis, and update your work status or work progress in the Scrum call. Just remember these 3 points. I hope this is useful for you. Okay, in our next video, maybe we can take one story from here, we can start working on, and we can start tracking this in real time, so that will be easy for you to follow the flow. Okay, thank you.